This is a very brief video to help you with the worksheet for the Sims 1 lab in Module 5. We're working on slope, plot, area. This is worksheet number 2. The first set of problems, 1 through 7, want you to find the slope of the following points. So remember that in order to find the slope, you're going to take your two y values and subtract them. Take your two x values and subtract them. And you write that answer in a simplified fraction. So I have the points 2, 3, and 5, 9. Remember, this goes xy, xy. So I'm going to do 9 minus 3 on the top. And I'm going to do 5 minus 2 on the bottom. 9 minus 3 is 6. 5 minus 2 is 3. Now 6/3 reduces nicely. That's the whole number 2. Or, if you're wanting to graph, your instructor might want you to write it as 2 over 1 so that you remember your rise over run. Now you finish problems 2 through 7. For the second section of this worksheet, you're going to plot the following points on the grid in order. And I'm letting you know you should go down the list. So that means start here, go all the way down this set of numbers, wrap back up here, go down this set of numbers, wrap back up here and go down this set of numbers. Now I apologize for this particular coordinate pair, it printed funny. This is 1 1/2, comma, -4. So you might want to rewrite that coordinate pair a little bit easier to read. Now remember, a couple key things before you start, that in your coordinate pair, the first value is your x, and it tells you whether you should move to the left or to the right. Your second number is your y value, and it tells you whether you should move up or down. Now before you start, did you notice? Again, I did not tell you where to put your axes and your origin. Do you remember from worksheet number 1 how I showed you should find the largest and smallest x values, your largest and smallest y values, and plan ahead where to put your axes? I can tell you right now, if you don't plan carefully, you're going to end up having to graph off of your grid, and it won't be as neat. Be very careful, and good luck. If you need to, go back and watch the video for the first worksheet to help you remember how to work with the largest and smallest x and y values to choose where to put your axes. For problem number 10, it says that I want you to find the area of the following regular shapes and that you need to show your work. Well, one of the ways that your instructors have helped you work on this problem, you might not remember the special vocabulary term for this piece, but hopefully you remember that what you could do is take your straight edge and you could draw in the two sides here, creating a triangle. And now what you could do is use the fact that you know that there's this triangle here, and the area of a triangle is base times height over 2, that 5 meters is the base, 2.5 meters is the height, and that you're going to divide by 2 to find the area of that one triangle. But then what your teacher showed you is that what you could do is extend all of those lines, and really, how many triangles happen to be inside of this particular shape? Well, this particular shape has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 triangles. So what you could do is, after you find the area of one triangle, you could multiply that value by 6 and find the area of the entire regular shape. Shall we try it? All right. So I need to do 5 times 2.5. Well, 2.5 times 5. 5 times 5 is 25. Carry the 2. 5 times 2 is 10. Plus 2 is 12. Bring down the decimal point. It needs to have one place value, so that's 12.5. But now I need to take that answer and divide by 2. 12.5 divided by 2 is 6.25. Well, we said there's really 6 of those triangles in my picture. So now I take that answer of 6.25 and I'm going to multiply by 6. 6 times 5 is 30, carry the 3. 6 times 2 is 12, plus 3 is 15, carry the 1. 6 times 6 is 36, plus 1 is 37. I have 2 decimal places in my problem. I need 2 decimal places in my answer. So apparently, this entire regular hexagon has an area of 37.5 meters squared. Now some of you, in your math classes, may have learned this formula for a regular polygon. Your teacher probably taught you that the area of a regular polygon is equal to 1/2 multiplied by the apothem, multiplied by the length of one of the edges, what we call a side, multiplied by the number of sides that are in your shape. So if we look at our shape, this is a regular hexagon. I told you up here it's a regular shape. 1/2 is a given part of the formula. 2.5 is the length of the apothem. Remember, that's the special vocabulary word for this distance that goes from the center of the regular shape out at a 90-degree angle, cutting this side into 2 equal pieces. So that's where the 2.5 comes from. S again is the length of a side. The side was given as 5 meters. That's where the 5 comes from. And N is the number of sides. Again, this is a hexagon. Hex means 6, and there's the 6. And when you do all of that multiplication, you get the same answer of 37.5. Remember your label. Meters is what I was measuring the original picture in, and it's squared because it's area. 37.5 meters squared. Choose whichever method you are more comfortable with, the blue method or the red method, but now you try problem number 11. The next set of problems on this second worksheet says that we want you to identify the slope and the y-intercept of each of the equations that you're given. Now, first of all, before you can do this, you need to remember some very basic but very important information. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. The y needs to be alone, the mx needs to come after the equal sign, and your y-intercept, which is typically a whole number, sometimes it's a fraction or a decimal, always goes at the end. So again, the m value, just the m, is your slope. And remember, on a graph, it represents the rise over run between any 2 points on the line. The b again is called your y-intercept. The coordinate pair 0b is where this line will cross the y-axis when you graph it. So again, the x is not part of the slope. It simply helps you find the slope. So let's look at the first problem, problem number 12. We have y equals 2x minus 7. So if I write y equals mx plus b over the top of that problem, I should be able to recognize that the m value is the positive 2, so that's my slope, and that the b value, well, typically it's plus b, but this says minus 7. So that minus sign really becomes a negative, which means that the y-intercept for this first one is negative 7. Again, notice I do not include the x in my slope. The x helps you find the slope. It is not part of the slope. Now you try problems 13 through 17. Be very careful on 15 and 17. You might need to ask for some help. Finally, we're back to reviewing how to find the area of your regular shapes. Do you remember when we worked on worksheet number 1? We shaded in all of the boxes that were completely inside the irregular shape one color, and we counted them. Then we colored in all of the boxes that the line of the irregular shape passed through. We counted those boxes, and then we divided by 2, because on average, half those are inside the irregular shape and half of them are outside the irregular shape. Finally, we take those two values and add them together to get the total area of our irregular shape, at least an approximation. So now you need to do the same thing. Find 2 colors, answer this last question.